What's up, people? It is another wonderful Monday night. Are you doing something funny?
No, I was just like,
Oh, okay.
Another marvelous Monday.
I thought she was starting up something already. But anyway, you are tuned in to Hidden Treasures with Ayana and Morris. We are your hosts, Ayana and Morris, and we're so glad to have you with us again. Hopefully, you are a repeat customer. If not, if this is your first time, welcome. And I hope this one will not be your last time. We are excited about what is yet to come, but we're going to tell you already that you are on InTheMixRadio.com, the live station in Yonkers, New York. Big up to In The Mix. And we always tell you that there are two hosts sitting in front of you, but we recognize you to be our third host. So at any point in time in this show, feel free to call us, 914-969-6499. That's 914-969-MIXX. Please hit us up.
But wait. But for the newbies, they may not know that this is the eclectic Christian perspective.
Now, that's what it is.
And so you can call. You know what I mean? And don't just call and shout somebody out. Call with a word, okay?
Yeah, don't waste our time with a shout-out.
He just said don't waste our time.
Don't waste our time with
He
no
did.
shout-outs.
Our time is short on the show. Stop playing.
Talking to boo-boo and all that.
Yeah, holla.
Yeah.
Yes, that's wonderful. But give us your eclectic Christian perspective.
Word.
We want to hear it as well. Because, I don't know, but everyone's been gracing the stage here, the booth here, and the presence of the Lord has been here. And
Several
the
weeks
conversations,
back to
back, have been off the chain. So, I don't know what's about to happen.
Well, let me tell
tonight.
you will not be disappointed tonight. I'm already excited about the conversation. I already see some great things coming out of this conversation. Gonna make you think.
As always.
As always. It's gonna make me think as always, because I leave with my mouth wide open by the end of the night and sit in the car trying to figure out what God is doing in my life. So, as much of this as this show is about you all, we get blown, our minds blown away too. So we're grateful that you all are here. If this is your first time, then you don't know what's coming up next. But if you've been here regularly, you do know what's going up next. We have a What's Happening Now segment coming on. We're going to show you a video at this time, and we're going to come back with our perspective. Maybe you'll come back with your perspective as well. But we're going to go to that video at this time. We'll be right back at you.
Oh shit. Shit.
Were you watching that as we were watching it? Oh my gosh, sorry that we didn't give you the disclaimer that, viewer discretion advised, and please forgive us for the profanity that was not bleeped out, but we just showed you the video.
Can I say something about that?
Footage in raw form.
To some degree, at first when I heard it, I was like, oh man, I forgot to say something. But the truth of the matter is that this man didn't have a disclaimer either. What happened to him happened. And there was no one who prepped him for it. And sometimes I think we need to be just as shocked because we've become desensitized. And that's kind of what I want to talk about, actually. We've become desensitized to what's happening around us. We see it, and at best we get a good shake of the head that it's a shame. But it doesn't provoke us to act. And that's troublesome to me, is that I remember, I come from a background where my parents, just one generation removed, lived during the civil rights era. Yeah. It wasn't that long ago, one generation. And when these types of things happen, they came together. They came together to strategize. They didn't just react. They weren't just responsive, but they came together to strategize, to figure out how can we best move forward so that the injustices that we see today, we do not see in our children's generation. That's what their desire was. That's what the desire was, is that we would not have to deal with this. And so fast forward 50 years later, it's heartbreaking at best to be able to see what just happened. For those of you who may not know what happened in the video, if you kind of been just paying attention to what's going on in the world, you've seen probably this before, at least heard a report of it. But as you can see, what was on. I almost don't even feel like explaining it, but because what you see is what you get. You see a young black male that's running away from the police. From what the story is told by the person who filmed it, he had just been tased, and so he was like running from the taser. Is what the story is that's given. And as he's running away, I counted 8 shots to his back as he's running away. It's hard for me even to talk more about that. To see the senseless act of violence, things that are happening to young black men everywhere, and yet this is my perspective. Yet we are supposed to be silent about this, and we're supposed to pretend that it's not race related, and that the color of the skin had nothing to do with it. But I'm failing to see where this is happening to any other race, where white people are being gunned down in the streets senselessly. I'm not seeing that, and so it's hard for me to believe that this is not race related, and that I am supposed to close my eyes to it and pretend that that we're doing well. I can't do that. So,
And even if the race card itself doesn't pull you, the humanity card should, which
Absolutely.
is simply a human life shooting down another human life, not just once to stop, but as many times as I don't even have comments. I honestly, I don't even have comments.
I know
just
it's
like
actually a
what you
hard
see
one
is
for
what
me
you-
as well. Yeah, like I was saying to Ayanna right before we showed it, I was like, I almost don't even want to talk about this anymore, because it's just that it becomes that painful.
But you said talking about
Yeah.
desensitization, and I think for way too long in our videos and our songs and our television shows and movies, all we see is death, death, death. And so therefore we've become so desensitized to it that when we see wrongful death, we're almost paralyzed at the reality of it, and then comes the desensitization.
Yep.
And just immediately, the only thing that I wanted to, it brought back to my mind when you talk about how we see things like this and we don't do anything. Last week we talked to you about the murder of Christian individuals in Kenya, and then we were talking about to write your Congress people. And I just want to just throw out some names to you, and you can feel free. You can just Google
stuff.
your
Good
Congress
stuff.
members of New York if you are from New York. But some of them include Brian Higgins, Gregory Meeks, Jose Serrano, Grace Ming, a very multicultural and diverse set of New York representatives for the Congress, Nydia Velasquez, Gerald Nadler, Joseph Crowley, Tom Reed, Nita Lowy, Elliot Engel, Kathleen Rice. These are just a number of our representatives. If you remember one or two names I mentioned, Google them, write a letter to them about you being outraged about senseless deaths. One, about the murder of Christians and our government not doing anything about the murder of Christians in Kenya and what's happening abroad, and also the financial support that happens abroad to these places that are murdering Christians. But also, let's talk about what's happening nationally and on our home front, the senseless murders of people, point blank, people. That the wrongful deaths of people, and write them and stress that you're upset about this. Carolyn Maloney, Yvette Clark, flood them with your letters. New York representatives of the Congress, you can write them. We'll continue to call out their names so you can remember. Just to, as we are talking now, pull out your laptop, send an email. You can do that. Print out a letter and prepare it to mail to this little to one of these individuals. Something has to be done. We got to do more.
Yeah, and we can't. And this is the last thing I would say, because it ties into what you were talking about with the attacks in Kenya. The desire of the enemy is that we would be paralyzed by fear. That fear would begin to cripple us and to the place of not doing anything at all. And I was reading an article today about how there was a university in Kenya that a transformer exploded. And as a result of the transformer exploding, they automatically thought that it was another attack. And people began leaping out of windows and running and stampeding and on top of one another. One person is already dead, and there are hundreds that are injured because of something that happened with a transformer. But because of the fear that now has been instilled in them, they ultimately, the panic is what caused death. And I just see that as what the enemy is really trying to do in this season. He's trying to make us so afraid.
Paralyzed with fear, and he comes to destroy.
He comes to destroy.
However the destruction happens.
We can't sit back idly, but we have to know that the power of God lives in us. And because of that, we have strategies, we have plans, we have witty inventions that he will be able to give us so that we can move forward and do the will and the work of God.
So that's what's happening now.
Yeah.
As you know, we like to bring to you different topics that makes you think, makes you kind of reevaluate your own stance, dealing with education, dealing with politics, dealing with culture, and a variety of other topics. So we encourage you, dig a little deeper, look a little further, get some more information so that you can be aware and also see what is it that you can do. So that's what's happening now, unfortunately. But we're going to move into what's happening in the community. Before we put the first flyer up, there is another show we definitely want to encourage you to watch.
Yeah.
This wonderful woman, our sister in Christ, Kay Brown. She is the host of Journey to the Cross. And you can find her and beyond, Journey to the Cross and beyond. 2 Saturdays out of the month, every other Saturday for 2 hours. You can find her on thematrixstudios.com. So check it out. Go there, look up, find her when her show is. Come on, those Saturdays, that'll be the time that you want to watch and see her. It's an awesome, awesome show. So we encourage you to check out that show as well. Now, I'm back.
Help her, Jesus.
Help me, Lord. I'm back. Now, we're going to take you to the first flyer that's going to show up on your screen right now as you hear my awesome voice just telling you about the opportunity. But it is now time. Stay in Shape Saturdays every Saturday beginning April 4th. That means it's already begun. The first Saturday started. Yeah. I saw somebody post on Facebook that they went walking, I think, 2 miles with Stay in Shape Saturdays, and then they were so bad that they went running later on that night. So I was like, go ahead with yourself. Right. So I need to get into one of these Saturdays. Okay, so that means there's another Saturday. This Saturday, the walk begins at 7 a.m. Okay, I'm not going to get in on that walk. I'm going to have to do my own walk. 7 a.m. I'm going to be there. You
see how the saints are?
I'm honest.
So fickle.
But I'm going to use that to motivate me to walk. Pace yourself. Hashtag Fit Life is what we're calling it. Hashtag Healthy You. This is sponsored by TMAT, and it's going to start from Mount St. Michael. That's on the Sanford Boulevard. And it's going to go all the way to Target Complex, the Pelham border, and back. So that's an awesome, awesome walk, and it's really great. Bring your light weights if you want to. Bring your music in your ears. Look cute. Get your little workout on. Or you don't even have to look cute. Look, get comfortable, all right?
Right.
I do the comfortable clothes just so I can get my sweat on. Stay in Shape Saturdays. Now is the time. April 4th. Check it out, okay? Okay. Now we're going to move on to the next event. Is there any more things happening in the community? Listen, I need to tell you, you need to send us more things so we can announce your event that is happening as well. But we do have another one. You're going to see him more than once on the show tonight. Hip Hop Comes to the Church. There's a concert featuring JP. It's going to be Sunday, April 19th, 2015 at 5 p.m. First United Methodist Church, that is right in Mount Vernon. That's on East Lincoln Avenue, okay? We're going to be bringing you more information and the number that you can call as well as email, but I want you to check it out on your screen. Also sponsoring a number of awesome people, the Spirit Dance Center, singer Francesca Marie. I'm trying to see, how can I get down? You know what I mean? All these things are happening. It's hot. So listen, Hip Hop Comes to the Church featuring JP. We are going to be announcing it until April 19th. Wait. This is the only time we can announce it.
That's it. This is it.
This is the announcement.
Let's get with it.
All right.
This is your last chance.
I thought we were going to tell you again. This is the last chance. But you know what? When you go to our YouTube channel, you can always watch it and you can share it with somebody else so we can pack that place out and have a good old time. April 19th, 5 p.m. Holla. All right. There's another awesome event that's happening and that's coming up. We want to support Uniquely Anointed Ministries annual conference, The Power of Prayer, the power, the return, and the experience. Oh, I like that. The power, the return, and the experience. Thursday, May 28th through Saturday, May 30th. There are a number of main service speakers. It is going to be located at Horak Ministries, 81 Croton Avenue, Ossining, New York. Now listen, It's Ossining. I don't want to hear you say, oh, that's too far. You carpool. Find somebody, 3 or 4 of you guys, get together, have a nice little ride up there. Get your little tea in the car. Get your money together for the gas. Get up there Saturday, May 30th, 5:30 p.m. There's also going to be a Proceed Gala. Now, that one is going to take place in New Rochelle, 71 Lincoln Avenue in New Rochelle, New York. So the 2 speakers are going to take place there. And then the gala is going to take place in New Rochelle. Now, the conference is free. But the gala, as you know, because you want to look wonderful, you want to look fun, you're going to see now the great flyer up on the screen that is connected to what we were just showing you. You are cordially invited to attend Uniquely Anointed Ministries Black Tie Gala, okay? So that's part of what we just showed you previously on the flyer. That's all part of Uniquely Anointed Ministries. That is Saturday, May 30th. 5:30 p.m. You know you like to dress up. You know you like to look good, men and women. $65 per adult, $40 per child. Come on out, put your good stuff on, and have a wonderful time. So there's a lot of great things happening. A gala, a conference, a concert, a number, exercise time, a number of wonderful things. And as you know, as usual, we are moving on to tell you about the 2-to-1 Marriage Enrichment Retreat. We're going to continue to announce it until you put down your deposit. And I paid mine today.
She sure did. She wasn't playing.
All right. Emmanuel Pentecostal Faith Temple presents 2-to-1 Marriage Enrichment Retreat. Friday, August 14th to Sunday, August 16th, 2015. It's at the Sheraton Stanford Hotel. That's 700 East Main Street, Stanford, Connecticut. It's $425 per couple. That's nothing. All right, $425 per couple. Come. Your marriage in trouble? Come. Your marriage is in bliss? Come. You don't know where your marriage is? Come. Enjoy yourself.
Especially come.
Yeah, especially you come. Find where that marriage is and bring everybody there so we can be blessed of the Lord. So it's up there. You can also contact Morris at tmat.org. Morris at tmat.org. We can get more information to you. You can register. That includes everything. It's going to be an awesome time, a wonderful way to spend one of your weekends in August. So that's what's happening in the community. And if you want us to announce an event that you have going on, please feel free to email us at hiddentreasuresam@gmail.com. And we'll be more than happy, if it is appropriate and in line with the vision of the show, to announce your event as well.
Yeah. So I got
somebody out of order peeking in. You know how folks get? Just peeking. Well, you know, it's going to be one of those nights.
Why do we bring these people on the show? Yeah, you'll be seeing more of that guy later on. But actually, you'll be seeing him right now because we're going to go to a music video right now from JP. You kind of peeked and saw him already. But it's the Breathe video. It's coming up next. We're going to go to that video now while he calms himself down real quick. So, Breathe. Here it goes. This guy's nuts.
I'm an air, so I gotta breathe. I'm an air, so I gotta breathe. Breathe, breathe, breathe. God breathes life in places we think despicable. Mud plus alive, it's decisive what I'm spitting for. In this world so dirty, but still the spirit glow. Watch my history, I see like I never did before. I mean I'm broken, but I'm still a vessel. Sometimes I gotta wrestle with the flesh to breathe. It's muddy and it's dark, still a lamp to my feet. Is the word lantern, I delight in your decrees. Breathe. Lungs to capacity, filled up by grace. Now I'm lifting like an athlete. Demons all around me, so I gotta move carefully, prayerfully. Rare is the moment when I feel the leap. So I breathe right before I take flight. Gotta do this work before the day is night. Ain't it right? Please help me breathe. Need oxygen. Ain't no stopping when you flying with the Father. Them smoke is all about. The flames start rushing. Inhale, exhale, breathe. Yeah, inhale, exhale. Can't see the light. Know that God is coming. Inhale, exhale, breathe. Yeah, inhale, exhale, breathe. Dear Father, all I seek is slaughter. Crying out your name, please save us from the torture. But if it takes burning in the furnace just to be with you, then so be it. Let a chariot be my vehicle. When my strength is gone and I can hardly breathe, you touch me and make me strong. Then you give me peace. Tell me that I'm esteemed when losing all my steam. Living water, the kind of the slaughter, swimming in the stream. As the deer pants, so my soul does. I don't give fear a chance, I don't fold up. Still my goal is love, cheesing like some cold cuts. Even when they look at me and tell me I should grow up. In my dreams I be breathing, I wish that you could see them. I know I sound the opposite of even, but on this plane when the bags drop, breathe normally. Turbulence happens to get curved, what is a storm to me? Smoking green, the flames start rushing. Inhale, exhale, breathe. Yeah, inhale, exhale. Can't see the light, know that God is coming. Inhale, exhale, breathe. Yeah, inhale, exhale.
Every day I pray, I ask God to take it all away. I wanna see Him in the kingdom someday, and paradise is where I wanna stay. I know I must repent for all that was spent. Christ gave His life for all of my sins. I'm willing to give all I have from within. All the temptation I can't give in. Guide me in the right way, so I can see my path straight. Not by sight, but by my faith. I just need to breathe, take it day by day. Oh,
The flames start rushing. Inhale, exhale, breathe. Yeah, inhale, exhale. Can't see the light, know that God is coming. Inhale, exhale,
you know you gotta
breathe.
breathe.
Yeah, inhale, exhale, breathe. God's power. Holy Spirit power has more potency than our human wisdom could ever hope to have. And all the doctors reported that said I would be born brain dead because enough oxygen wasn't getting to my brain. God blew breath in my body.
So he's here.
Yeah.
So he's here. The man is in the building.
Yes, sir.
We got him here. You already seen a peek of him, and so we decided to not let you see him again. Oh no, there he is.
There we go.
So JP is in the building.
What's goody?
Well, welcome to Hidden Treasures, dude.
Good to be here, man.
Glad to have you with us.
No doubt.
He is now officially part of a Hidden Treasures first. For
I was
guests
hidden.
to crawl in,
hidden.
thinking that he was hidden when he wasn't. But I'm glad to have you on the show, dude. So here's the thing, right? So our topic for tonight.
Wait,
What?
Uh-oh.
did y'all see how Mount Vernon was
Big
up
up!
there?
Yeah,
Mount Vernon in the
Mount
house.
Vernon in the
yes,
building.
Yes,
Yeah.
not Mount Vernon West, but East.
Word.
She's hilarious. What that got to do with anything?
I'm sorry.
Now we got an
Sorry.
East and West battle in Mount Vernon.
Never. We all won. We only 4.25
Four-
square
yeah,
miles.
only
We can't.
4 square miles.
Come on.
No division, yo.
So, but here's the topic, right? So our topic for tonight is growing pains. And that was not our original topic. But as I was reading my brother's blog, there was some things that you had written about growing pains. And that thing leaped in me so strong when I started to read it. I could identify in such a crazy way that I sent him a text and I said, scratch that.
Right.
We're not talking about it anymore. We're talking about growing pains.
Right,
So
right.
let's just give the people an idea of what it is that you were talking about so that we can begin to flow from there.
Yeah, so the blog post was actually kind of a reflection on a Kickstarter campaign that I had just completed. So thank you to all the people who took part and took some part in the Kickstarter campaign.
Can we get some volume in the house?
Oh, let's get some. Can we hear?
Yeah. I want to make sure everybody's
face
getting. I'm
too.
sure
See
make
my
sure
face too?
everybody's getting on it.
There we go. Let me know when we good to go. We good? All right. So yeah, thank you to everybody who contributed to the Kickstarter campaign. I know some people are watching and listening in. And I was just reflecting upon it because that was a really kind of trying period of time. It was a 2-month campaign. I raised a bunch of money to work on my album that I'm working on now. And I kind of compared the painful, or not painful, the kind of just the work ethic that has to go into that type of thing, to like growing pains. And when I was young, I was 7 years old, or not 7, but around that age, and your body's literally expanding. So you had to go through pain to get to your next place. So for me, it was a matter of getting Charlie horses and waking up in the middle of the night and screaming, writhing in pain. My parents had to rush to my room to figure out what's going on, and it was just literally just growing pains. I had to go through that to kind of get to where I was going next.
Yeah, what's interesting is I actually had a similar. Why are you laughing? No, I'm serious. No, I had a similar experience, and I really haven't heard about it from many people.
Yeah.
Like to the point where they thought they tried to diagnose me with arthritis as a kid because
wow.
my pain was so severe.
Wow.
I don't know why, because I really didn't grow that much, but
That's why I was chuckling when you first
is that
started
why you
talking.
laughing? You got some nerve. Yeah. But my pains were so severe that they thought I might have had arthritis, but they said that it was growing pains. And obviously we're talking about it from a very natural standpoint right now. But spiritually we have a very similar experience. Go ahead. I see you already ready.
Yeah, I love how you just
Yeah.
started with that, because the natural is such a reflection of already what happens in the spiritual,
Yeah.
right? So we see, and that's a prime example. I can think of so many parents that are rushing their kids to the doctor because their
Yeah.
hips are aching and this is
Yeah.
aching. The doctor's like, no, let them keep playing, let them
Right.
keep running.
Right,
They're
right.
just growing, So let them continue with the activities in spite of the pain because they're still growing. But this is just, God gives us all these natural examples
Yeah.
of what He has happening in the spirit realm.
That's crazy.
And hopefully we're making a connection with someone to say, oh, aha, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Aha, it's happening in the spirit. It has happened in the spirit first.
But what I thought was really interesting about what you wrote was that it wasn't just these pains, because a lot of times we talk about pain, spiritual pains, we talk about the storms we go through, blah 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 blah. Stop whining, right? So that's kind of the way we take it. But you took a different approach in the blog, and you were taking the questions that were keeping you up at night as a sign of growing pain. And I thought
Yeah.
that for me kind of was like, whoa, I never really processed that like that. Explain that.
Yeah.
So just in this season, so much is being poured into me, so I lose a lot of sleep.
Yeah.
And that actually, translates into kind of some physical lag, right? I mean, you wake up and you're not actually, your body may not
Rested.
be, right, you may
Yeah.
not be rested. And just kind of literally wrestling with the questions that you have, or wrestling with the visions that you have.
Yeah.
Wrestling with, just the sheer like magnitude of what's being put on your spiritual plate.
Yeah.
And wondering like, can I actually do this? Is this possible? Like, but you have to wrestle with it, and it's a pain there.
Yeah.
Because you have to get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, man.
If you have to, if you've been given a gift, if you've been given a vision, you have to get out of your comfort zone to actually pursue it. So you can't just sit back in the prayer corner. You have to actually pursue it. Right?
Say that again.
You gotta leave, and you gotta start working towards it and putting the pedal, the foot to the pedal, and actually starting to work, in co-creation to making things happen.
Yeah. Oh. What?
Did I just drop co-creation on you there?
Yeah. See, there's for me, in case you're just watching for the first time, there are little things that somebody can say that everybody else is like, what's the big deal? But it's these little things that drop in me, and I'm like,
And then he opens up his mouth to explain what was just dropped, and then you like, oh, I feel dumb. Whoa.
no.
Like, what did the Lord drop in your spirit? Because he's about to take it. Like,
No, I'm not gonna take it anyway. I actually want you to explain. Why did you use that term co-creation? I think is a powerful term.
To me, it's a powerful image.
Yes, it
and
is.
as a performer, as a creative person,
Yeah.
I'm never actually creating alone.
Yeah.
So that means that I've been given gifts. God has deposited things into me. So when I go through the process of actually kind of pouring those things back out in creation, it's actually a co-creative process.
Yeah.
So a lot of times when I talk about my writing process, I'll talk about the fact that I open myself up as a vessel, let God pour in me, and then I pour back out. So it's co-creation. I'm not taking myself completely out of it.
Right.
Because I've been given gifts. I
Right.
have to own that. Right?
That's what I wanted you to say.
I've been given gifts, and I have
Yeah.
to own that, and I have to identify what those gifts are, but then also identify who gave me those gifts.
Yeah.
So it can come out in a more organic way.
And it's a healthy balance. And
It's a
I think
healthy balance.
sometimes
It's hard to get there, man.
and I wanted you to touch on that end part because I think sometimes it's easy for us to say in terms of co-creation that God gave me the gift and I'm relying on him, and we can get so
Right.
spiritually deep sometimes that we forget that there is a component to that after he gives us the gift, he says, now you use it.
Right.
Right.
I was going to say there is a
There.
responsibility
Right.
with us from there. It goes back to what you're saying. You can't just be in your prayer corner. You know,
Right.
you got to then pursue. And so as God gives, you say, okay, we want to say as God inspires, then I'll start doing. But it's a co-process, right?
yeah.
You gotta put that work in.
Yeah.
You might have to stay up late and not go to sleep.
Yes.
You know
Which is
what I'm
the
saying? Which is that
yeah,
growing
you're touching
pain.
on everything I want to talk to because
Good,
that is
good,
a part
good.
of the growing pain. Because some people, some of it is learned behavior, but we kind of are taught that okay, God gave you something, now wait on your ministering,
Yeah.
whatever that means.
Yeah.
Because we take those things
But
out
see,
of
people-
context. Right, and so I'm waiting on God. And meanwhile, you will not get to where you're supposed to be because you're not really waiting on God, but God is really waiting on you to catch up to what he is trying to do. And I think that's what really part of what you're talking about is that there's a work that has to be done once God drops something in your spirit.
Yeah.
Because you're responsible now for what has been delivered to you. That you have to actually deliver this baby.
Right.
I put the baby in you, but you're going to have to push.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Sorry.
No, yeah. You gotta put the work in.
Yeah.
You gotta put the work in.
Yeah. So, okay. So in this we got this whole thing down.
Right.
We got these growing pains. We have these questions that are coming to us.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
I mean, that's a harder part, man. That's
Yeah.
part of what that wrestling is. That's part of what that development is. I think part of it is kind of developing folks around you. And being developed with folks around you, so doing things in community, that's also part of the co-creation, right? So I'm here with Zilla, right? He's my graphic designer. I'm Francesca Marie, you saw in the Breathe video. My boy Malcolm, who does all my videos. Like, we've built kind of a rapport with each other, and we're in community with each other, and that helps the creation process,
Yeah.
right? So if I know, one of my boys texts me almost every day, it's like, yo, you gotta keep going, we need this, da 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 da, and I'm like, okay, I need that, right?
Yeah.
That's part of the co-creation
Yeah.
process.
Yeah.
So being around people who are for you, who are with you, who understand where you're coming from, who understand your vision, who are not gonna kind of tear down what you're about, that's really important. Because I mean, we can look at the model of Jesus, and Jesus did not roll dolo, right? Like Jesus,
Although he could have.
although he could have, right? He
but
had a lot
didn't.
of power, but he did
Right.
not.
Right.
He did not. He actually called upon other people and then empowered them to then go forth and do their own thing.
Yeah.
Right. Peter walked on water for a couple steps.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He stepped out of the boat and walked a little bit. Right. He was empowered to do that.
Right.
So I mean, there's certain we have to step out that boat.
Yeah.
And we got to take the step.
That community thing, I felt like I could feel you like getting closer to the mic. So
Yeah. Thank you for bringing me back.
I saw it. Yeah.
No, but I like what you said about the community thing, because I was just thinking so many things about how, God is developing the people around you so they can also develop you and you develop them. But I thought about how you building together and people pour into their vision, but in their specific roles and capacities. And sometimes we have to realize that we all are different members, but we need to work together as a whole body. And so you talked about the graphic designer, and you talked about the singer, and you talked about the other one that is the videographer, and how coming together to bring to light a specific vision. And so therefore it doesn't detract from any one person, but God will place that community of resources and individuals around you so that you can go forth and continue to create what he does. But that's just like you said, the questions are part of the growing pains. I'm getting kind of excited when I'm thinking about this. But also, who God puts around you, that's also part of the growing pains, like you were saying, because it's like, is it supposed to be this person, or should it be that person? Do I have to separate from that one? Do I connect with this one? Is this God's vision for this project at this time, in this moment, this season? Not with this one, but I thought it would always be, and not for this time, so it's got to be that one. And that is okay. That's part of the growing pains, to be able to step away and to step close, to be able to connect with this one and hold off on that one. You know, sometimes we think it's just like with severing ties. Sometimes we are, and sometimes we're letting this kind of put it on the shelf while we reconnect and go further with something else. And that is part of the growing pains, because it's most uncomfortable for us. Because it's unfamiliar and it's a little awkward, but that's part of taking us to that next level in our vision.
Yeah, because we can get conditioned to be okay in environments that really were never designed for us, right? It's this.
See, now you talked about Walter Scott earlier, so that's the first thing I think about when you say that.
Go ahead. Well, yeah.
Because I told Zilla, you know, I was gonna at some point pivot.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna get back to it.
You know, peace and power. I had to pivot to the social justice things. No, I mean, in terms of being in spaces that are not designed for you, navigating those spaces, calling out the wrongness of those spaces, carving out your space in those spaces. Zora Neale Hurston talks about not finding out she was black until she was placed against a white backdrop, right? And just thinking about how we're supposed to be operating in these spaces that were not made for us, right? And when I say Walter, I bring up Walter Scott because we're in the United States, and the rules that are governing us were not made for black folks, right? They weren't.
Just the reality.
That's the reality of it. We can look at documents, we can look at actions. There's evidence for that.
Sure.
So it's a crazy thing, especially when we get into the spiritual place, to think about how we're supposed to be operating in community, how we're supposed to be operating against communities, how we're supposed to be operating within ourselves as individuals in those types of spaces.
He did it again. So, so at the end he says we're supposed to be operating in communities. Wait for it. But then he said we're also supposed to be operating against communities, and I think that is explanation worthy.
So and let me say this too.
I get it, but
because when I say communities, I want to take this.
I knew. Exactly.
I want to make the separation between systems and people.
Yeah. Good.
Right.
Good.
Because people are often subjected to systems. So maybe communities is not the most precise word I can use in that phrase. But communities, maybe I should say communities operating against systems. I should say that. Because in the case like Walter Scott, these people are subjected to these systems. Communities end up being subjected to systems. So the communities that are victimized, the communities that are oppressed, that then internalize that oppression, have to then operate against those systems and against the communities that are subjected to them, and the communities that benefit from those systems and are fine with that benefit. I feel like I'm talking a lot and I'm saying a lot, and there's like a lot kind of coming out. So
but it's good stuff.
I'm gonna leave it there for right now. But that's all to say that the decision to identify in a certain way is literally the root of the word decision is to cut away, right? That's actually the root to separate. Right. Is that right? So the same thing kind of has to happen when we're thinking about who we are and kind of separating against what people think we are or who people think we are.
But what about the person, because I'm hearing it already, what about the person who does not feel like they've ever had that choice, that it's never been a decision that they could make, that decision was already made for them?
Elaborate on that question a little bit more.
I want more on that.
Okay. So, I was born into poverty, right? And so this label has already been placed on me. The stigma has been placed on me. I'm a part of this impoverished community. I feel like I don't have any other options, and so I didn't make a decision to be in this.
That's what you're saying.
It just is. It is what it is. How do I navigate out of what has already been decided for me?
You want to say, because I got a response. I mean, my initial response goes back to what we were saying earlier about the different parts of the community, right? So part of it is that people have been given the vision to speak life to those people who don't see life for themselves. So that's where the prophet's going, right? Where Jesus stands with the oppressed, right? God is on the side of the oppressed. So if I believe that, and that's something I've been given, it's my job to then speak that to people, right? regardless of who they are or where they are. My job is to speak that to them, that speak that life to these people, to us, to my community, to my people, to my folk.
Where are the prophets?
Right, where are the prophets gone? So that's part of our job, because there's always going to be people, and I'm one of them. I have people in my family like who think at some point they don't matter, or that they don't have the power or don't have the ability to do certain things.
Yeah.
But it's the people who are inspired and the people who have had encounters spiritually with the divine, who can see themselves as children of God and friends of Jesus, to then say, no, you are a friend of God, you are a child of God, you matter, right?
Yeah.
You are made in this image, right?
Yeah.
You are important, you matter. So it's the job of us who see that to speak it and to live it.
As the prophet, I'm able to liberate your thinking.
Right.
You know, it's so awesome if we think, you know, God is on the side of the oppressed.
Yeah.
The omnipotent, the all-powerful one
Yeah.
is on the side of the oppressed. And it only takes
Wow.
a realization.
Wow.
And it goes to
Yeah.
the decision. It goes to the prophet speaking life. What did you just say? The prophet does what?
I don't know.
I forgot. I don't know what I said.
You gotta catch it when it come out.
But in essence, to bring about the revelation, to bring about the illumination.
Oh, I said the prophet has the ability to liberate the mind. That's what I said.
Prophet has the ability to liberate the mind. And when we have that realization, it changes everything. When you were talking, I was thinking about Dr. Cindy Trim, because she came from a really poor background.
Yeah.
And that was the system that she was born under. She was a people or a community under this specific system,
Yeah.
and she could have been confined to that. But she did not. So she made a decision. There are things that I want, so I'm gonna do everything I need to do to do it. We're talking about growing pains and what they look like. Simply, she wanted to take a dance class.
Yeah.
So she took the responsibility. Let me take these 3 girls to the dance class. You pay me to take them. That's how I'm paying my way to be in the dance class.
Right.
So what are we saying?
Which means she had to go to a different community in order to get that.
Right. So
Yeah.
there was somebody on a different financial status, in a status of affluence where she was not.
Right.
But she went there so that she can get what she needed to get. That's so powerful. When you talk about growing pains, we were talking about getting out of our comfort zones and being uncomfortable, making the decisions that are uncomfortable, so that we can grow. We can grow in the magnitude that God wants us to.
And it's amazing how those visions and those dreams get deposited in people without a middle person.
Right.
So somebody like my papa, my dad, who was born in a certain system and could have easily been confined to certain systems, just had the vision, right? Like that was deposited straight into him. I mean, right? Jesus came from Nazareth, right? That's the hood. That's not Rye or Harrison. If you from Westchester, you know what that is. That's not Armonk. That's the hood. That's the Bronx. That's Harlem. That's Mount Vernon, right? That's not. And God was deposited into Jesus, right? So what does that mean? How deep is that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think that's really heavy, because I was thinking about, I've seen this many times where people who can grow up in the same household, right? You have 3 siblings that all grow up in the same household, but they're so vastly different.
Yeah.
Right. And one succumbs to the system, and one goes completely against the system. It's a question that I've often thought about, was what makes one so different than the next. But what you just said really just it opened my. I guess it's something I just never thought about before. But God Himself can deposit something into someone,
right? Straight there,
whose mind, whose heart is open, that they never had exposure to, and so really we are without excuse to some degree. I believe that kind of takes away, our excuses to some degree.
Well,
well, go ahead. You're like, well,
yeah, I mean, but that's a mighty kind of call to tell somebody to not be confined to a system, right? I mean, meaning, how do I say it? Internalized oppression is a really difficult kind of thing to battle.
Sure.
So I generally don't like to put the onus on the folks who have internalized the oppression. I would rather put the onus on the folks who kind of exact and initiate the oppression. But it's for the people who have the access to kind of battle those things that have a great responsibility.
But at the same time, I hear what you're saying, but at the same time, the person who initiates oppression certainly is not going to be the person who breaks the oppression.
Right. No, of course.
Right. So
right.
At some point,
so somebody has to speak against it.
Right. Oh, go ahead. I see your thought.
No, I'm just thinking about I'm really thinking about so much. And I'm like, God, what is it that you are really trying to illuminate to us in these days, and I'm thinking about last week when we talked about stretch for greatness.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the week before that, and we're not putting together themes. This is not what's happening. And then the week before that, we were talking about open up your mouth and speak and forming your world. And here we're talking about growing pains. And whenever God begins to put things together, regardless of who we have as our guests on the at the platform or on the platform, and God is just really putting something together. And I really pray that someone is really hearing and listening to what God is really trying to tell us. You talked about those questions that sometimes you are pondering and you losing sleep over, and these ideas that come. And sometimes when you said that, I thought about times when ideas came, and I'm not a morning person, but I mean, God knows how to deal with you, and I'm waking up really early and could not go to sleep until I put out exactly what he poured into me. And that means you're losing sleep, but it's like these creative juices are flowing, and you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to, there is something that you need to do. It is these growing pains. And then once that masterpiece is there, it's, okay, God, now you want me to implement? Like, it's...
I mean, that's literally what passion is, right? Like, again, the root of passion is pain, right? So when we talk about the passion of Christ, the pain of Christ, passio, that's pain. So you have to go through a pain to kind of get to the point where you're living passion. And when you're living passion, it's painstaking, right? So that's part of the process of like getting that stuff out, letting it come out of you, like navigating the rest of your day to create space to like be in the passion space, which is hard, y'all. Like, that's really, really hard.
What would be the opposite of passion?
Complacency.
I was gonna say that, but I don't know if that's really it. But I see. But that was good. That was my initial answer. And I'm like, well, I don't know. Is that
Opposite
really?
of passion.
Sorry, we're thinking out here. I'm like.
I
Just
say that
because
because as we,
moment. Yeah.
you can go into what you were saying, but the passion and talk about the pain of it. And I'm thinking about those that are okay with average, with mediocre. It's like, okay, I'm not gonna push the button here. I'm not gonna press it there. I'll just be comfortable here because it's just enough. And tend to be individuals as well that spark and that passion has, and they can be some of the most gifted people, but that spark and that passion hasn't taken over because you're afraid to hurt, you're afraid to feel that pain. You think about if I've got to go through some pain, if I want to work out, if I want to lose weight, if I want to build muscle, or if I want to slim down, right? The thing is, if I want to make a change, but if I'm complacent where I am, I don't want to go through so much of that pain. I kind of say that's why.
But here's why as I'm going to use your example. Here's why I don't know if it's complacency, because I can have a desire for change, right? Because I think the desire to change would mean that I'm not complacent, right? But not do the actual work to change. So I don't think that it's necessarily complacency in that sense, because I actually do have a desire to change. I just don't do the work to actually change.
Are you connecting complacency? It could be apathy too, but are you connecting complacency to the thought process or to the action process? Because complacency to me is like, so what, you have an idea. So what, you have a desire. Like, it means nothing if it doesn't come to fruition. It means nothing. That's why there's so many people in the graveyard, and that's where so much potential is, because there was tons of ideas, but nothing happened with it.
Valley of dry bones.
Right. So is the complacency the action, or is it actually the thought and the feeling? I think it could be apathy as well. I think that plays into it as well. That passion, it's that pain, but it's so much, so involved. The emotions and the energy is so great when you think around passion, and apathy is the direct opposite of it. Yeah. I think of complacency as the action of it.
Maybe I'm resisting the question because it's like, it feels like a binary, and the artist in me don't like binaries. But the thing that keeps coming to my mind is comfort for some reason. I don't know. Maybe when we're too comfortable, we don't want to answer questions anymore, or we don't want to ask questions anymore.
You ever heard someone say, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I think when you swim, like, I don't even want to talk about this one. Don't even ask me more questions. I gotta think about it some more.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Right?
Yeah. It's definitely a question. The opposite of passion, right? I mean, I don't know if I've even felt that in a long time.
So just so we can understand kind of where my thought process is, I'm trying to figure out what prohibits someone from fully embodying all that God has placed in them. What is that thing that allows you to say that, you know what, I'm not gonna be passionate about anything?
Well, that's a different question. That's a more accessible question, at least for me. I mean, because part of what I think about is lies that we have to unlearn about ourselves, about who we can be, about who we are. We have to unlearn lies. We have to kind of uninternalize the oppression that kind of comes from those types of lies. Yeah, that's the first. Those are the first. That's the first thing I think about. Because, like, you know, if somebody tells you can't fly, right, and that's a lie, you're not gonna ever try to fly, right? Now, granted, we can't, like, you know, this is metaphorical,
yeah,
right?
But sure, we get it.
If somebody tells you can't do something for such a long time, and you believe it,
right,
then you're gonna be apathetic. You're not gonna be passionate about what that thing is because you've been told for so long that you can't do it. So if you unlearn it, it's like, you know what? Nah, I actually can do this. And then you start maybe living into it a little bit more. I think.
But at the same token, I think that there is a group of people. I agree with that. Let me say that.
Yeah.
But I think there's another group of people that I wasn't told that I couldn't fly, or maybe there were a couple. But there was another group of people that told me that I could. But I want to get back to what you were saying, that there is a pain that allows us ultimately to be able to and fully embody this passion that we have. And I think some of us get stuck in that space that I would rather not deal with that. And so I'll settle for where I am. And I'm just trying to figure out what makes someone cross that line to saying that the pain is worth the passion. That's what I'm really. But that's even when I think. But that's even when I think. I think when it's real passion, you can't do nothing but experience the pain. Yeah. Like you can, it's like, you know, I can go for that.
You actually have to do it.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as no, right?
Yeah. And that passion carries you.
Right.
That is.
So as you feel the pain, it's like
passion on one.
Yes.
The passion is the pain. Like, I can't go to sleep.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
Right? Like I have to get up and write. I have to do it.
You feel tired.
I can't do something
but you
else.
gotta let this out. Yeah.
Like, I'm so focused on this thing. Like, and it's painful.
The only person who understands that is somebody who's passionate.
Yeah.
Right.
Only other people.
I have to do it, yo.
Understand.
Like the peace and power dream, I have to do it. There's no vision for it not happening at this point. Right. There's no vision. There's no other option.
Right.
This life has to get
so while everyone else is saying get your rest, you know, take it easy.
What you mean?
Right.
8 hours. Right. I could die tomorrow because a police officer could think I got a gun in my pocket.
Right. Because that.
I'm gonna go sleep tonight and get my 8 hours.
Somebody passionate. That's an offensive statement.
Right.
Because I've been there.
Right. It's offensive.
To tell me to rest is offensive because you don't know what I'm carrying.
Right. Nah, right. That's
and
real.
until I push this out.
Yeah, and it's heavier to hold it than it is to let it go. And you're like,
God.
I gotta let this out. Like, it's just like when you, like you said, you're tired, but you're dead tired, but you can't even sleep.
You can't sleep.
If you wanted to, because you lay down and all those thoughts and everything is still in your head.
Yeah.
You gotta pour it out. And once it's out, it's like, I can breathe for a second. Because I gotta answer.
Because there's some more to it.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
You pour it out and you put it out, right? Because you pour it out and then you gotta, you know, you pour it into what? Then you gotta take it to somebody and then here have a drink.
You gotta serve
right?
it. Yeah.
You gotta take it out too. So that's painful though. Like, you know, I'm sitting here just like jittering.
Me
I'm
too.
like, yo,
Right,
you gotta go in, yo.
Everybody, we probably look crazy.
That dream you gotta do it. Like, for real.
No, bottom line, you actually have 0 minutes. So
perfect.
I'm going. So, but I.
Perfect. I said what I wanted to say.
0 minutes. No, you have a couple of you got a couple of minutes, but I want you to stay with that. I want you to you told them that dream that you have and you do it. Just
speak to that. Yeah.
Speak that life. That dream you have in you. It is it's real. And if you got it and it's real, don't be afraid of the pain. Don't be afraid of sleepless nights. Don't be afraid of people saying no. Don't be afraid of being rejected. Don't be afraid of failure. If you have to walk up steps that aren't there yet, just keep walking, right? So it has to, that's what it is. It's that envisioning something that's literally not there. I was talking to Zilla earlier because I'm wearing this hoodie and I'm like, yo, 2 years ago this was just an idea, and now I can actually touch it, and like other people wear it, and it's like every time I see something, I'm like, yo, that's crazy. That was in my head 2 years ago.
Yeah.
How is this? You're wearing this?
Yeah.
This is crazy. So like, and it was 2 years ago.
And it's because of what you said. And I had another one of those moments. You just said something. You said because the dream is real.
The dream is real.
And that by itself is so many of us contain the dream here.
Right.
And as long as it's here, there's a safety
Right.
There's this weird
Right.
safety.
There
with
is
the dream
because you
being
can't
indie.
because you can't share your dreams too many
Yeah.
times. You can't share your dreams with too many people. That's the hard part about that's the pain, right? Because you can't share it too much, right? Until it's ready to get poured out. Because I mean that's the people will shoot down your dreams and then lie to you, and then you'll internalize those lies and you'll shut your own dream down. So you got to protect it. So it's a balance of protecting your dream but also doing it and making it happen.
I feel like I got an itch I can't scratch.
See, that's that passion.
That's it. I can't even
That's
do
that
it.
passion.
In case you just tuned in and you like, what is going on in
tuned in
Hidden
too
Treasures? You did tune in too late.
Wobblicious, baby.
You
Trust
gotta
the
watch
mic.
us on YouTube.
Ah.
We were talking about growing pains, and this was just like a conversation that just sort of mapped itself out. But oh gosh, wait, just one image.
What we got? We got what happened?
Oh,
Image,
God,
yo,
we got
let
to
the image out. Let the
Even
image
if-
out. Pour it
If you
out.
think about it, if you gotta walk and the steps aren't even there yet, and I thought about, I'm sorry, I
Oh,
thought about,
wow.
do
it. Let it
I
out.
can't think of my
Let it
guys.
out.
What's the movie?
What movie?
Wolverine and
X-Men?
Wolverine.
X-Men.
Oh,
okay,
when they
wait.
walk on the path and
Right,
yeah.
and as he's
With
walking,
Professor X, yeah.
right, the metal and the path is coming out before him as he walks, and so that's
You better
literally
preach,
the image.
X-Men.
You better not preach, yo.
That was a movie. That's ministering.
Come on,
No,
son.
but do you understand? You were talking about that dream is real, and even if the steps aren't there, you walk it out and it's there. You walk it and then it's there. Like
gotta
you
make
gotta
it.
open, you gotta lift up your foot to step down, and then it's there. If you never lift up that foot, that step would never be there. Oh my gosh, your dream is real. Like you have to. This passion has got to be released and explosive.
Come on, yo. They going there right now.
I'm sorry. At the end of the show.
Let's go. We got there though.
So,
that passion. We had to get
We
through
got
this. We got to get
we,
through
we,
this.
we gotta get there. We got there. So listen, let's do what you're passionate about. You got 1 minute.
I'm passionate about. Oh, can I
No,
go? Can I
I'll
start?
tell you what you're gonna do.
Oh, okay. What
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
tell, this is my show.
You only
No,
got
I'm
2
sorry.
words. You got 2 words you
My
can use.
show. Let
I'm
me
on.
tell
You got it.
y'all. I want our engineer if he can turn that beat up.
Oh, we gonna
I
spit.
knew he was gonna do that. I
Let's
knew he was
go.
gonna do
Let's go. He was shouting. Bars. Oh yeah. I'm gonna spit to this.
Yes.
Start a movement unpopular. Put on these binoculars, we getting the nosebleeds. But I'm gonna get to that opera. Most high singing while trying to even the playing field. Feeling hungry in the jungle, cause the plate is filled. Can't fillet my wheel with your flagrant trying to tackle me with a box. I smarten up cause the bait is real. It's okay, I know you want a Richard Sherman me. Wondering what my Eric sermon be. Multiple levels like burned degrees. Bushes on fire give me certainty. Aren't you glad I never ever had to learn to squeeze? Unless we talking about these words to make a person free. I seen how shots can make crowd at parties disperse and flee. I seen how shots can turn clouded thoughts into worse deeds. Now I'm all like Marvin, often caught in mercy me's. About to go lawless versus hitting like they Hercules. Trying to take us to college, but we stuck in nurseries. Miseducation been brought up, I ain't the first to see. But people trying to inspire, so take us higher. All you think like with the higher tip of diving to. I'm speaking in tongues and I ain't even stopping. I'ma keep it clocking and I'ma keep it rocking here in the mix with my boy Morris. And we gon' do it and we pouring the dreams out. And you know we get the things out. By them things, I mean the spirit. So I'm near it. So I'ma keep on spitting, keep it get it, keep it get it, keep it win it. You know we get it. JP up in the building. Peace and power all day.
That's
Guabalicious.
it. That's it. That's that boy. Y'all ain't ready for me.
Bars.
Ready?
You gonna spit? Go ahead.
As the show goes on.
I was just okay. I'm gonna be courteous to my guests. I ain't gonna show them up.
Oh, don't show me up, baby.
But the next time you
Don't come
come
with more
through,
bars, yo.
I'm ready for you.
Let's go.
Listen,
That's
we,
the cipher.
we love y'all. We hope that blessed y'all. It blessed us. I gotta go home and not sleep now. So I hope y'all get some rest. Yeah, try to get your rest. Drink you some juice, go to bed, and then in the morning wake up and write what God gave you, bro. Thank you. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Love you guys.
And
Peace
love
power to
y'all.
you.
And we'll see y'all next week.
Yes.